So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and this is another episode of Backroads, Arizona. In this video, I'm going to be repairing a side panel on my 26-foot enclosed trailer. I bought this trailer used off of Craigslist, and it's had this bubble in the siding ever since I got it. This repair cost me less than $10, and it took me less than an hour to do. Now, bear in mind that I'm doing this repair on a screwless enclosed trailer, meaning there's no screws or rivets that are holding the aluminum side panels together on the outside of the trailer. So if your trailer does have screws or rivets holding the side panels in like this one, then obviously the process is going to be a little different. Here's a quick glance at some other videos that I've done pertaining to this trailer, and there'll be icons at the end of this video if you want to check them out. And let's get to it. So usually these trailers will have some type of trim along the bottom edge that holds the bottom of the side panels in place. And usually there's a type of vinyl insert in it. All I did was peel that vinyl insert out by pinching it in the center and pulling it out. And then I removed the screws that were behind that vinyl trim. You'll notice as soon as I pass the bubble in the siding, removing the screws, that bubble almost goes completely away. Now, being as though this piece of trim only went about halfway down the side of the trailer, I went ahead and removed the whole piece. If it was a full piece that ran the whole length, I might have just peeled off enough screws in order to get it past where the bubble was in the trailer. Then I just peeled that piece of siding away from the wall a little bit so I could add some caulking behind it for some extra adhesion. So underneath the aluminum siding is usually going to be a layer of wood. So just make sure whatever caulking you use adheres to both of those materials. I just peeled it back a little bit and then just started squirting it in. When putting the caulking underneath the aluminum siding, I tried not to peel back any more than I had to, so I didn't loosen any more of the siding up than what already was. Once applying the caulking, I actually parked my trailer pretty close to a brick wall, and I used a couple pieces of wood to press against the trailer and the brick wall with a spreader clamp to hold that paneling nice and tight while that caulking dried. I put the piece of wood next to the seam but not over it for two reasons. One, I didn't want the caulking to squeeze out and adhere to the piece of wood. And the other reason is I knew as soon as I tightened that board against the trailer, it was going to squeeze caulking out of that seam, and I needed to be able to access that to clean it off, which is what I'm doing right here with that paper towel. I decided to re-drill the holes halfway between each of the pre-existing holes in the trim. So basically I would be holding the screws with brand new material and not reusing the pre-existing holes, which might not hold tight. The other aspect of this is why I needed new holes is because if I used the same holes where the bubble was, it would try and push that bubble right back into that side paneling. Once drilling the holes, I reinstalled that piece of trim onto the trailer and started putting the screws in. I only put the screws in about halfway down that piece of trim because on the wheel well side, the vinyl insert is tucked behind the trim, and I needed to have enough flex in that piece of trim to fold that vinyl insert back behind it, put that screw in to hold the vinyl, and then go ahead and finish installing the rest of the screws in that piece of trim. Once putting all the screws in, then all that's left to do is put the vinyl trim back in place. Sometimes some soapy water will help if it's pretty dry and brittle. Depending on how old your trailer is that you're trying to do the repair on, that vinyl trim might be too brittle to try and reuse, and you might have to get new. And it is available on Amazon. If you do end up having to order some, make sure you measure the width of the track that the vinyl trim slides into, because it does come in a couple different sizes. I've found that the best way to install this vinyl insert when it's a short piece like this is to lay the bottom part of the insert in the lower track and then compress the top of the insert down into the upper track. It might also be helpful to use a blowgun to blow out the track piece before putting the vinyl insert back in case there's any debris in that upper or lower track. If you're struggling with that vinyl trim insert and you have a lot to do, I'll also put an icon at the end of this video you can click on to help you out, where I replaced almost all of the vinyl insert on my 37-foot Weekend Warrior toy hauler. I ended up leaving those spreader clamps on for a couple days to make sure that caulking was fully cured, and then just popped those off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some good information. If so, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. The whole concept of my channel is to give you guys the most information in the least amount of time as possible so I don't waste your time. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.